Well, hello folks, we're at the Pat and Pattie Show with our special guest, Dina Sanfilippo.
Hello.
There's a whole bunch of stuff going on about the airport and the air show and whatever. Is this really anything?
I don't know. I became aware of it last evening when I had received kind of a letter from a Facebook friend, and it was basically saying that the three commissioners that are known for being anti-airport have just decided that they no longer want to support the Paulding annual air show, which is only 2 months away. And it goes on to say, without the county support, that they will not have any fire and rescue or security, and those parts are necessary to put on an event. And
who's saying this? Who's saying this is happening?
Well, this is a letter that I had received.
It was on Facebook.
On Facebook. So then I went to the Silver Comet Airport to see if they had something out there on it, and they basically had the same thing out there.
But we don't know really who started this this thing going on, this turmoil. We don't know where it came from,
right.
But we talked to Todd a little while ago, one of the commissioners, Todd Poundell, Post 2, that both of us know so well.
He was the final victor, yes. Okay.
Yes, he was. Thank God. And so Todd said
it was basically political slander, and that this was not the case. And what I did do last night, I did do my due diligence and go out to the stop page to see, because I would sit there and think that if this was a planned coup of sorts, that they would be out there lauding this, and there was nothing out on the stop page about that. So I had to dig around a little bit more, and I went out to Candy Goldman's site, and there was a little bit of chit-chat on her page about it, because they were sitting there saying that basically what Todd had said is that there was a whole lot of misrepresentation going around about them.
So each side is saying the other side must be doing it.
Right.
Is that pretty much the bottom line?
And basically what it was is...
I love watching Republicans battle it out.
On the Facebook page, and also basically what Todd had said is that they had been asking some questions to get a better understanding about the way the air show ran and how it was financed, and, you know, in this climate of distrust and paranoia.
Everybody hates everybody.
Yeah, so, you know... they could have just been asking questions just for information.
So who knows? I mean, who knows who made this up? I was horribly disappointed to learn that it's not true, because I thought finally the Paulding Coalition has done something that I really can get behind, which is stopping the air show.
But if they had done that, and you and I disagree, I said that is political suicide if they did that, because, first of all, people are already taking sides.
I know.
And the Paulding PTA had already taken a side of sorts, because they had basically the same exact thing that was up on the support page about, you know, this fiasco going on, and that's the last thing that
So what you're telling me is that the anti-airport folks, I guess because they just love to have the whole community here, all them jets coming in here that are not, they're not silent jets or whatever, going to come in and buzz the community.
Well, no, what it's going to
make everybody, oh my goodness, is this what a commercial airport's about? No, but are actually in favor of that. So the anti-airport folks are in favor of all that.
I don't know. I don't really know what they're in favor of, because they're not my friends anymore.
Well,
but I'll tell you this. I hate that air show worse than I hate the plague. That air show is like 5 days of being in hell for all the people at the ends of the runway. I know there might be one or two who just love it. But for me, it's 5 days when my house is unlivable. The last time they had an air show, I was walking through my kitchen, minding my own business, and I suddenly started hearing this weird noise. And I thought, you know, you live in a 42-year-old house, something's bound to break at any moment. So I'm thinking, what is that weird sound? And all of a sudden it kept getting louder and louder and louder, and it was killing me. I mean, I literally thought I was going to die. I fell to the floor with my hands over my ears, thinking that whatever it was coming through my roof at any moment. It almost seemed like the air inside my lungs was vibrating. It was so horrible.
And that must have been that Canadian.
Well, after I got up off the floor and I didn't die, I ran outside to see what the hell it was, and I couldn't see anything. And I heard something way off in the distance, but I didn't know what it was. I ran back in the house, called my neighbor Bob, and said, Bob, what in the hell just happened? And he said, Patty, I was just outside looking out towards your house, and I saw an F-18 flying upside down over your house about 100 feet over the tops of the trees. And I said, well, yeah, that would do it. So yes, it's like being in hell at my house, but nobody cares, because the people who love this airport don't give a damn about anybody but themselves, has been my belief.
Actually, I'm wondering, you've got people that are positive to the airport. You got people that are positive to aviation.
They love it.
And they're not necessarily the same people. Quite frankly, I think that the air shows, you know, I don't like to go out there and trek on the pad and go say ooh and ah over a jet or whatever. I mean, it really, especially military jets, they are horribly
obnoxious.
loud.
They're obnoxious. Exactly. They're loud. They're terrible.
And it has nothing to do with the commercialization of the airport.
No.
The 737s that would fly out of there are so much quieter than these things.
Well, they couldn't be as bad as an F-18 100 feet over your roof. I can tell you that.
Well, I understand, and it's kind of like real bad PR in a strange sense to do that. Now,
well, not the brightest bulbs in the chandelier of life here in Paulding.
Well, they were counting. I'm sure the people that are pro airport or that are pro air show are counting on that particular thing being a rallying point for people, but it's really kind of I mean, it's kind of like drag racing. I remember people used to complain about the drag strip over on Drag Strip Road, if you remember that.
Oh, I do. My brother used to go there all the time.
Among the other things that Paulding County is known to have next over the years would be Atlanta Raceway. I mean, we don't want no loud nothing, to disturb our quiet.
I mean, most people came here to this part of the country to have a nice, quiet life. I mean, they want to shoot their guns all the time, which is fine. They can do that as long as they're not
nice,
shooting
quiet
at me.
life.
Well, I mean, but they don't do it all day. That's the good news.
Well, but they don't use earmuffs either, for the most part, if they're doing it out behind their house after about 4 or 5 beers, just to have a good time.
I know.
Okay.
It is scary.
Okay. Well, anyway. Where do we go from here? I've actually, there
was something else that came out of my digging around last night.
I appreciate your journalism.
There was a little bit of controversy a couple of weeks ago about Chuck Rand and the contract that the county had given him to do some work on, the sheriff's training center.
We did that whole story last week and how that all played out. So what's new?
Well, apparently Mike Jones has been given a contract after leaving the county, and there's a little bit of, hubla going around about that, and I just have to wonder, why? Because Pat Crook, when she left the county, she received a contract, and it's not uncommon for certain levels of personnel when they leave to have, a small contract after they leave to help close out some of the projects that they were working on, and this also kind of dovetails off of this whole supposed controversy about the amount of severance that Blake Swafford would potentially receive if he was let go without cause. And these are normal business practices, and I don't know if the people that are creating the controversy around these things are just not that familiar with how the business world works, or if they're playing off of people's ignorance.
Maybe they just enjoy creating
demagoguery.
Yeah,
I mean,
they just enjoy creating controversy. They enjoy creating problems for other people.
Yeah, let me say
enjoy
this.
it.
Let me say this. And it was made a big deal of when Pat Crook got her $49,948,
And-
which was just right under. But the difference was that Pat was not going to retain that position. She was gone and actually left prior to the new chairman coming in.
That's correct.
And while it did include a codicil that said that she would have to answer questions and whatever, the entire purpose, I don't believe she was ever called because there was no interest in calling her. Okay. In this case, the chairman remains the same. We got him for another, almost 2 years.
Yes,
and he's going to call on them, and it was a amicable, not political exit, if you will, where and there are still some programs going on, including the reservoir, and we're going to actually talk about that in a little bit. I think that's probably the reason we have that hat right here. But
indeed, it is, Pastor.
Anyway, what I want to do right now, that pretty much solves that. They're making another mountain out of another molehill.
Well, there is one person who I will not name, but we had her featured last week on the show, the pony. She just likes to make trouble. She likes to rant and rave and throw her shoes into the middle of things and just cause trouble. At least that's been my experience.
Well, I prefer not speaking of her any more than we already have.
It is an awful thing.
Well, it is a pleasant thing not to.
Yes, it is.
No, it's just people making mountains out of
molehill.
molehills.
For fun and profit.
It's demagoguery is exactly what it is. What I do want to do is talk about demagoguery and talk about humor. I'm going to introduce a new segment that will be here for us to enjoy. This one will only take 2 minutes of time, and it comes from the Paulding.com archives, and it has me talking about the campaign of twos.
Are those condoms on your fingers? What were those things?
You're my God, woman.
We know
look.
Where's your mind?
I'm a born again virgin. It couldn't be my problem.
Maybe that is your problem.
Oh, maybe it is.
Okay, here, folks. Campaign of twos.
Hail to the chief, I'm the man with all the answers. I have the key to all our wants and all our needs. I'm not a rube, I'm a genius who can answer. 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 is all I need. Hello, America, and welcome to the campaign of twos. Yes, this is no Nixonian victory sign. It is the campaign of the future. In today's politics, we are stuck in a rut. There are just 2 candidates, 2 positions, and 2 choices. My candidacy of the twos transcends these limits by embracing that truth with cynical pragmatism. See, my first 2 is for the $2 maximum price per gallon for gasoline. I promise you, if elected, knowing that I have no chance in hell of delivering. Pragmatic responses to special hot-button issues are also central to the campaign of twos. This 2 is for all the couples, regardless of race, regardless of age, regardless of sexual orientation, or who ought to be able to get married if they want. I mean, if we can imbue the corporations with the promise of immortality, we do, we can let living things have a little fun, don't you think? The campaign of twos also recognizes the need for public financing of political campaigns. $2 per person in the members' district seems appropriate recognition of the screwing we've gotten from Congress over the past 40 years. I mean, look at the national debt. Our screwing was so bad it makes me want to do this. Yep, that's the real deal. When I think about it, the 2 middle fingers extended is an appropriate symbol of the campaign of twos. It reflects my gut-level reaction as the quintessential middle-of-the-road pragmatist candidate, and as I confront new spending on things from military adventurism, bridges that go to earmarks, and absolute cradle-to-the-grave security. I'm not through, and I won't leave you with this searing image. Indeed, remember, there's always a finger to the left and a finger to the right. of the extended middle finger. Left, right, and middle together, they represent the unifying message of the campaign of twos, the promise of peace and unity. So peace, brother. Vote for Hughes in the campaign of twos.
I am so proud to have come up and noted that my campaign promise from 2008 as a Democrat was absolutely correct. We did see $2 a gallon gasoline.
Congratulations.
Thanks to Barack Obama.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, we've got another kind of humorous thing, since we've had a couple of serious things, which is the first editorial of the night. Take a look. Okay, so you start out.
Oh, I don't really have school lunches.
We'll talk about them.
Well, tell them that you don't like school lunches because your mama does such a wonderful job of making your own lunch. Now that looks like an editorial.
Okay, here's the newscast. Okay,
we gotta go.
and cue the dancing bananas.
Cue the bananas.
Banana! I'm a banana on the floor. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Do an editorial about how nice I am to let you come down here and play on the Pat and Pattie Show and show set, and how much you enjoy being on TV.
A lot.
We'll say it.
I love being down here because I can be on the moon if he puts me on the moon.
He's been putting us on different very awesome screens and it makes us look awesome.
Except for the moon. He has to put us on the bananas. Cute. I'm not okay. I haven't been on the moon yet. I'm pizza. I'm
Cue
pizza.
the pizza.
Look, I'm spinning pizza. I'm spinning pizza. Bananas.
Elijah, you need to be serious because we gotta go in a minute.
Cute bananas. I'm a pizza. Okay. I'm coming up.
This experience was very fun.
I'm a pizza. But
This experience is very fun and I really liked it. And I've never done anything like this before.
But I want to go on the moon.
Although the green screens are like having our picture taken at school.
But I want to be on the moon.
Okay, tell me your names.
Elijah.
Maya.
Grayson.
And do we have their parents' permission?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we go to the moon?
You can. To the moon, Alice. To the moon.
I want to actually go on the moon on the green.
Cue the dancing pizza.
You don't have a picture of the moon.
Next time.
Cue the dancing pizza.
Like this existed before you came today?
No.
Is that
I
pretty
did.
cool?
I did.
Tell Poby how much you appreciate that. Show him.
I like it so much, puppy.
I'm not puppy. I'm pubby. There's a difference.
Okay, puppy. Puppy.
Hey, B.
I did, puppy.
Puppy.
Thank you, puppy.
You're welcome.
Well, as a parent of a Cub Scout, all I can think is I just wish that some of the people that speak at the Board of Commissioners meeting acted as adult as these Cub Scouts.
Okay, well, that was a pretty raucous event, I have to admit. But
Looked like fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a barrel of monkeys, as they say. But we're about going to a rather long piece here that we've actually pre-recorded it, but it's. Put that hat on and tell a little bit about that.
I found out today that the rule is when you do when you read an editorial letter to the editor, you must wear a hat. And I chose this hat because it's a letter about the environment and about pollution. This is a letter to the editor from longtime Paulding County resident and local activist Glenda Lynch. I have more than 20 years in medical and toxicology research in chemical exposure and human health, and I would like to share some of my shocking findings. Anyone with this documented information has a responsibility to bring it to the public because you need to know both sides of the issue on Richland Creek Reservoir so that you can make informed choices. There is a right to know law that gives you the right to know about chemicals to which you may be exposed in your daily living. You have a right to choose. As the Bible states, my people die from lack of knowledge. You can view these documents that I'm talking about and other pertinent information regarding this matter online. You can do your own research, or it's been put up on the pauldingairport.us site, where you will find links to important information that all Paulding citizens need to know. We are currently in the middle of a 30-day comment period regarding the new pipeline that will, as other pipelines already do, run right alongside the Richland Creek Reservoir area. One already actually passing through the water pool area in 3 locations. Let your voice be heard as to whether you want to drink toxic, cancer-causing water out of the Etowah. You can see the chemical profile on PCBs online, and also in the Richland Creek Reservoir. All of the basin is contaminated. Pumpkin Vine Creek, Richland Creek, Coosa, Weiss Lake. You may want to get on the internet and verify the documents at the Department of Natural Resources and other links that you can find at the Pauldingairport.us website. To learn more about the symptoms associated with PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, or any chemical, try ToxNet. It is an excellent research tool. ToxNet says that PCBs are carcinogen at any exposure level, causing depression, epigastric distress and pain, fetal neurobehavioral deficits, headaches, high blood pressure, impaired lung function, joint pain, liver damage, low birth weight, premature birth, stomach inflammation, autoimmune disease, autoimmune thyroid disease, gastric ulcers, cysts, and hemorrhages, along with kidney damage, immune suppression. It goes on. Learning how to survive our polluted society means that you need to find out where the toxins are and how to avoid them. Our air is not fit to breathe, and our water is not fit to drink. Doing nothing is not the answer, or waiting for governmental agencies to do the right thing. As the U.S. General Accounting Office says, they have failed to do their job on our water. I have their free documents, and you can get them too on their website. I hope you will follow me in doing the research and verifying what I'm saying. I encourage you to see for yourself. According to the American Cancer Society, there is an average of 278 diagnosed cases of cancer in Paulding County each year, and we don't want or need more. We would like to bring that number way down or eliminate cancer cluster altogether would be ideal. So Paulding County citizens, start writing your letters. The first one that you need to write about this reservoir should go to the Georgia Environmental Protection Division Director, Judson Turner, regarding his push for the Richland Creek Reservoir. And you should also write about the quality of that water that will come from the Richland Creek and the Etowah River. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for many years has not given the permit, I believe, because they know this water is unfit to drink. The pushers of this reservoir will probably want to use an excuse and say that the treatment plant will clean it up. Well, there's an answer to that. The true story and film, Aaron Brockovich, proves that treatment plants do not necessarily remove all chemicals. Many people died in that town and got cancer from that water. We need our elected officials and governmental agencies who are supposed to protect us to do their jobs and protect us. They are paid by our tax dollars to do just that. What isn't arguable is the need. Yes, we need an independent water source, but we need it to be clean and drinkable. We need protection. We have an ethical duty to act to prevent harm. We are all for economic development, but we want it to be clean. We do not want our water and our children exposed to a whole series of toxic chemicals, especially in their formative years. The answer to our county's need for clean water is using the millions of dollars that we have for the reservoir to dig a whole lot of wells throughout the county, which would feed into water storage tanks placed throughout the county. County. This system has worked well for Hiram and Rockmart and other surrounding cities with no problems. Plus, they got to choose that they did not want to add fluoride, a cancer-causing chemical, to their water. We now have fluoride in our drinking water, whether we like it or not. I believe that 50% of the millions of proposed spending for the reservoir could be cut if we went to well water, and that would make the taxpayers happy. All citizens should read the report of preliminary subsurface explanation at the reservoir site, Richland Creek Water Supply. It was written for Paulding County, and it was created by S&ME, the company that did the research. The report project number is 1801-10-25, report number 409857. It was prepared for the Paulding County water system. It is not favorable on their findings. They say that their records, their test boring records indicate that a cave-in happened at 25 feet. Seepage and sandy silt was found. Boring number 2 showed mica content. On page 7 of the report, it says that subsurface conditions do not appear well suited for foundation support of a roller compacted concrete dam of the height proposed for this reservoir. The report also has a reservoir map showing the Colonial Pipeline easement in 3 places runs through the reservoir water pool. Pipelines break all the time, and pipelines running through our water source is not a good idea. In Toccoa, Georgia, the Kelly Barnes Dam failed. 39 people died in the resulting flood. If you do your homework, you will find that the Federal Investigation Board found that that dam was built on silt and some layers of fine, silty sand. Continual seepage was followed by the slide. In the Paulding Neighbor newspaper dated January 8th, 2015, it says that Richland Dam will be classified as Category 1, which state law defines as one in which failure will result in probable loss of human life. Here is where you gotta ask, why did the director of Paulding County Water Department resign? Why did the county manager pushing this project resign? As we struggle to defend our human rights and protect ourselves against the poison in our air and water, you should read the commissioner's oath of office, which reads in part, my action should be, quote, most conducive to the welfare and best interest of the entire county, end quote. This toxic water is not in our best interest. It is a violation of their oaths of office. I oppose this reservoir, and I obviously do not want to drink cancer-causing PCB water from the Etowah. So citizens, gather your evidence and write your letters to the Environmental Protection Department, the EPA, Colonel Thomas Tickner, who is the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in the Savannah District. You can write to him at 100 West Oglethorpe Avenue, Savannah, Georgia, 31401. Our homeowner taxes and other taxes that they can find to raise will be increased to pay for all this bizarre spending that just keeps mounting up. Our elected officials need to educate themselves before they take their positions on issues like this, and they need to seek out greater knowledge of their roles and responsibilities for the voters and citizens of Paulding County. Learning on the job is not the correct answer. Thank you for your attention and the positive response I've already gotten from the more than 850 people that I've personally contacted regarding this matter. I have spent a lot of hours working to educate my fellow citizens about the dangers that face us in our air and water. And now I am asking for your help. Do your homework, then tell your friends and neighbors so that we can save ourselves and let our elected officials know what we want. Thank you. That was a letter from Glenda Lynch, longtime resident. And Glenda, thank you for all the hard work you do trying to educate the citizens of Paulding County about the dangers that face us in our environment.
Okay, well, that was long.
It was long, but very informative.
I wish I had a hat now, and maybe a little tinfoil.
Get rid of the glare off the head. I need my sunglasses.
Yes, I understand.
Well, I am glad to hear that somebody else had noticed the same thing that I had when looking at the information available on the county website about the reservoir, in that the proposed reservoir goes over a couple of these pipelines in several spots.
Existing pipelines. There's 3 existing pipelines. This new one that we're in the middle of the comment period on is going to be a 4th pipeline coming right down by the reservoir. But and you pointed this out to me initially in the beginning, is that one of the existing, I think it was the gas, for gas.
Well, there's a gas pipeline, a natural gas pipeline, and then there's a petroleum product.
Yes. Which one goes right through the water pool of the reservoir?
Is it above ground?
No, it's
no.
They're underground.
Okay.
But if you look at the reservoir map that is available at Paulding.com, and also you can go to the PauldingAirport.us site, and there's links there that take you to this map that's on Paulding. Not Paulding.com, Paulding.gov. Sorry, our government website. The map that shows the proposed reservoir, once the water level is at full pool, 3 of the fingers that come out on, I believe it was on the west side of the reservoir, the existing pipeline goes right through the water pool. Now, I'm sorry, but to me that seems incredibly stupid. I can't imagine. I don't want, my reservoir leaking with gasoline, petroleum products.
All over the country.
I know they are, but they don't run through water.
Yes, they do. A lot of them do run through, rivers and whatnot. And there is, albeit a very, very low probability of something happening to these pipelines, but in the very small event that something did happen, my question is, how much leakage is going to contaminate all of the water in the reservoir, and does the county have a plan B to replace that water in the event that there is?
Well, yeah, actually, I can almost answer that, because the way the reservoir is not self-filling, number 1. Number 2, that just means you stop pumping new water in. You let the water go out. You go in and fix whatever you got to do. You let the you would have at least a point where the outlet from the dam where you could put some sort of filter to keep the water runoff from being bad. I'm not a great fan of Richland Creek as a reservoir. I preferred the West Georgia regional approach that would have been over further west and whatever. But we know how that got geeked by our Republicans, and
the toxins over there are even worse, though. I mean, have you heard about Lake Wise?
Well, that I don't know that. And what I read one of the sites, or went to one of the sites, and I was looking at the data, and I says, "Hey, look, this is over my head." I mean, I'm not, to read that stuff, you got to have the experience to put it into context.
I think that's.
I mean, I can read the numbers, but I mean, what does that mean? It's kind of.
But don't you think it's over the heads of our commissioners too? I don't think they have a clue.
What we need to do is, if somebody wanted to do something appropriate, they would hire somebody from, University of Oklahoma or whatever that is aware of these type of issues, that is independent and has no thing for an independent view of this, and that or even a panel. But you got to assume that the people that are planning this are not so dumb, and if they are, I
do not presume that. I mean, look at who.
Well, that's why we're so ungovernable, is that everybody presumes that everybody's lying, and nobody's doing anything right, and it's the absolute end of the world. Oh my God, the sky is falling.
I'm not saying that they are lying. I'm saying that I'm not sure that they're smart enough to understand the ramifications of what's going on here.
Any idiot understands that you can't poison the damn water.
Well,
okay.
I mean, one thing they don't seem to
and I can't imagine them in any sense providing okay, go ahead, that's fine.
No, you're screaming in my ear.
Well, I'm probably peeking the doggone thing as well. But hey, look, I get a little bit passionate on some things, especially when it comes to ignorance.
I know. It's offensive. But here's another thing, that they don't even have the permitting done for this reservoir yet. Yet they're spending money, they're building the pipes going to and from the reservoir. They're spending all kinds of money for a reservoir they don't even have the permits for. And one of the reasons they don't have the permits, one thing standing in their way is the darter fish. And that is a big issue that nobody seems to be paying attention to, because the darter fish can stop this cold.
Well, the darter fish, where I don't see it stopping this cold, because I've been at Richland Creek. There ain't no darter fish in Richland Creek.
Yes, there are. You need to educate yourself, Pat.
The last time...
is it an Etowah or a Cherokee darter?
One of the world-renowned darter fish experts in the world recently reported that the darter is... The area around Richland Creek is the prime breeding ground in all of the world for the darter fish. The darter was run out of Richland Creek years back and killed off because of all the pollution, the seepage coming from the septic tanks in the area. It was so polluted that everything in the creek died, but they cleaned up those issues, got the water back to a clean level, and then they reintroduced the darter fish into the area, and it has proliferated. It is like a haven for the darter fish.
Oh, it was reintroduced. Yes. Okay, well, reintroducing something is kind of a... hey, I got a great idea. I'm against this. Let's go introduce a darter fish to it. Here's a darter fish. Oh, I love you. Don't you love me? I mean, geez.
That's not why they were reintroduced. They were reintroduced because it was their natural habitat.
Because they actually found a darter in the stream back behind the airport, a couple of years ago?
I don't know if we're supposed to talk about that.
I have no doubt that there are darters in that area, but this is an entirely different area. It is basically a once a month or 2 months running stream. It is not a running stream.
All I'm telling you is that the guy who is the darter fish expert from the University of Georgia, he has written reports on this, and if you care to read them, you would find that the darter fish is doing quite well in that area, and it is an endangered species. You ought to read a book about. There's a link on my on the airport website about the book about a darter.
Notice where the links are, folks.
Well, yes.
On her website, absolutely.
They will be on his eventually too.
She lost me, quite frankly, at. Well, we can get rid of the fluoride. In other words, the John Birch Society thing. And as I understand, she's a longtime Republican. So I'm sure that, I can understand your affinity with her, but...
Please. No, I am anti-pollution.
You were a long-time Republican a long time ago.
Yes, until I had my brain screwed on right.
Well, that I understand that. But anyway, when I was talking last week, when I was talking to Mike Jones about him leaving and all that sort of stuff, he says, yes, the Richland Creek is going to be as big, if not a bigger issue than the airport.
Yes, I think it will be. If people learn about it and educate themselves on what's going on over there. The first thing I learned about it is that one day in February 26th, I believe, of this past year, Mike Carter got up and gave a report to the Board of Commissioners about the core samples that they did at the creek. And it seems to me if a smart person were doing this, they would have done some core samples before they bought the land for it. But they didn't. They waited till long after they bought the land and had already started trying to build the dumb thing, and they thought, maybe we ought to do some core samples on the land we bought for the reservoir. And they did. And what they found was that it was down to 100 feet weathered rock. And when I heard that, I thought, well, okay, fine. What does that mean? I don't know. Later in the day, somebody called me and gave me an education on what weathered rock was.
Was that the writer of your letter?
No, different person entirely. Okay. And this person educated me on what weathered rock meant, and I went and did some research on my own, independent of him, to verify everything he had told me. And what he told me was correct. Weathered rock means cracked. It's like they bought 800 acres of land to build a reservoir that won't hold water. It's made of cracked rock, which means you got a hole in the bottom of your swimming pool. So I talked to Mike Carter about this, and he said, well, we can fix it. We can find a way. We can fix that problem. We can build a different kind of dam. But the problem is, and if you look at what Glenda said, and I did some investigation on what she said about the Toccoa Dam, and the lands were very similar. The type of land that was underneath, the broken rock, the silt, the sandy, it was not. And even Mike Carter even said, reading from this report that Glenda quoted from, Mike Carter even said that day at the Board of Commissioners meeting that this land is not suitable for an earthen dam. And that's exactly what they're building out there.
No, I thought it was rolled concrete.
Well, they have to find a way to he said that they have to find a way to try to fill up the holes in the bottom, to fill up the cracks. And what they needed was maybe some red clay, but it was more than 10 miles away was the nearest red clay, and it was going to take like 40,000 truckloads to bring it in to fill up the hose, and that was not economically feasible. And they were going to look into it and try to find a better way, but the same kind of dam that you mentioned that they're looking at putting here is the same kind of dam they built in Toccoa, and we all know how that worked out.
In 1962, there were 38 deaths because they didn't pay attention.
The dam broke and killed people, and they just had to buy some land, I learned. They were forced by the state to buy land. The county was forced.
Paulding County recently.
Was forced by the state to buy land near the mouth or, the dam area, so that when it breaks, there won't be houses there.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's nice.
I wouldn't.
That's nice.
Well, it is. It is the type of dam that if it broke, it.
But knowing Paulding County as I do, they'll start building subdivisions in there at any minute.
People should have more confidence in their government, but they should always ask questions. And I mean, we're asking questions.
Considering that I live at the east end of the runway in Accident Potential Zone B, and nobody told Mom and Daddy it was coming, I'd say my trust level in Paulding County government is about, not even that big.
Why would you think that anyone would be able to tell your mommy and your daddy in, 1972, 68, when? When did they build?
They started, I came here for the first time to walk the land they had just bought in 1969.
Okay. There was no airport. There was no.
I know.
Do you give these people that you're criticizing
what are you
the
even
idea
talking
that they
about?
have are they that prescient? Are they able to look at a crystal ball and determine if there's an airport?
Wait. Let me see. I don't think I said anything about that, Patton. What I was talking about is that these people in this county built this airport 6 years ago and didn't let anybody know. They snuck it under the radar. They didn't hold hearing. Yes, it is. They did an airport overlay. They changed the zoning. They didn't even have hearings. My mother didn't get any kind of a letter saying, oh, by the way, Miss Smith, we think we're going to put an airport and you're going to be right at the end of the runway. What a great view you'll have of all the planes.
Since about 1973 when Atlanta bought 10,000 acres, the airport has been looming over people in that area is a reality.
Oh, that's bull crap.
Oh, that's not true. They got 10,000 acres bought specifically for an airport.
But the report, if you care to read it, which I've done, said that this area was not suitable for the airport. But what does that matter, duh? You have to read and find out stuff like that.
You still got 10,000 acres to do something with, and the only thing you can do with it is an airport.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Oh, didn't they talk about a dump at one point?
Yes, they've talked about making it an incinerator out there.
No.
Yeah, they talked about it.
We all thought that.
But somebody out
there was a landfill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and then there was somebody on PCOM at 2 or 3 different points come out and say, oh, I know what would be great, bring lots of jobs and money, blah, 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 and prosperity. An incinerator.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be great for a bunch of people who get their water out of water wells, out of the ground, out of underground springs.
Well, isn't that exactly what your lady proposes for the water?
The point is that you do not put a toxic waste dump in the middle of an area where people get their water out of the ground. Duh.
Who are on the airport authority would have read these documents from 1972 that where the city of Atlanta said that one of the first things that they would absolutely have to do if they put an airport out there was run sewer and water to the people around the airport because they're currently on well water.
No, Dina, you're wrong. They didn't say it was one of the first things. They said
That's right,
it was the first thing.
That was right.
The first thing that must be done if this land is going to be used for an airport is that water and sewer must be run to the people who live in the area because they all are on well water.
And the other thing...
But I doubt if anybody on the airport authority has bothered to read those.
Oh, yes, they have, because if you recall, the other thing that it said that it needed was not one, but 2 access roads from I-20 to 75.
That's true.
So,
like toll roads or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the one thing they want to do, according to Franco Utilitarian plan, is they want to turn Hulseytown Road into a 4-lane highway going from 278 down to Rose's store. Which would definitely change the complexion of my life.
That's the back entrance to the airport.
Yes, that's the back entrance right there at Clark Road and Hulseytown would be the back entrance into the airport. That also would be a 4-lane highway.
I understand, and you're against that too.
Well, you know,
even if they bought your property for, or it had great value, but that's going to be many years. That's going to be after your time.
I'll be dead by then. I mean, yeah, one day my land may be worth $1 million, but today it's at the east end of the runway. I don't know what it's worth.
The
Are you still yelling? You quit yelling at me.
Now, wait a minute.
I don't understand why you have to be yelling all the time. For Pete's sake, just stop yelling.
The show's over.
What?
The show's over.
What?
Stop
Tell
yelling.
The show's over.
Are you trying to tell us to stop yelling?
Yeah. And the show's over.
That's been the Pat and Pattie Show. Bye.
Now, bye.